What's going on, everybody, and welcome to J Sports Seattle. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the Seahawks. It's been a minute since I've talked about the Seahawks. I've been meaning to make a video. First, I've been meaning to make a video previewing the game against the Chiefs, but I've been swamped with work and life, so I was not able to get to that. And then I was going to make a video, kind of going over the Chiefs game, which I'm going to do in this video, but I was going to make a video like the day after. Same deal. Work's been picking up. I work at a concert venue. We got 4 straight shows coming up next week, and I've been busting butt trying to make sure everything's good. But I got some time right now to talk about this. Just talk about the Seahawks getting into the final preseason game. We're right around the corner. Week 1 is literally 2 Sundays from now. So like this, we're getting there, and I just want to talk about all this. So if you like the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share for more Seahawks and Seattle sports content. And without further ado, let's get on with the video. Alrighty, so yeah, finals preseason game against the Green Bay Packers tomorrow. I believe I said this in a previous video. This is the second time in 3 years we were actually going to Lambeau for a preseason game. Hopefully, last time we did not. Unfortunately, we walked away with an L. But hopefully this year, things can change. So, before I get into that, though, I want to talk about the game against the Chiefs. That game against the Chiefs was a masterclass of a preseason game. Obviously, like I said in what I said after the week 1 game, the preseason game, it's preseason. There's not much you can. Yes, you can take some positives out from it, like seeing rookies and second and third, fourth, and fifth stringers. You could try to find a spot on the roster. So you can't really tell if a team is going to be good or not. I mean, the 0-16 Browns, I believe, went 4-0, or was it the 0-16 Lions? Either way, one of those 0-16 teams went 4-0 in the preseason. It doesn't mean anything. Granted, the year we went and won the Super Bowl, we blew out every team in the preseason. So I mean, it just depends on the organization, I guess. But in this case, we blew out the Chiefs. We both played starters. Well, they didn't play Mahomes, but they played a few, first and second stringers on both offense and defense for a couple drives last week on Friday. And firstly, I got to talk about the first team offense. That was refreshing to see. So, I get it. I totally get it. Like I said, it is preseason. But keep in mind, last year during the preseason, even when Geno would start, or the year before when Geno would start, the offense looked stagnant, even in the preseason. This time, it looks different. Keep in mind, even though it is the preseason, we are going up against the Chiefs, who, reigning AFC champions, and literally, came off a back-to-back a couple years ago. They literally made the Super Bowl 3 straight years. So this team is an elite franchise, and we took our backups took their backups for the time of their lives, and not in a good way, but you know what I mean. And we showed them that our backups are for real this year. But the one thing I got to point out, and the one thing I really got to point out is, damn, man, this O-line is looking nasty. Like I will keep saying this as many times, just to keep putting the disclaimer out there. I get it's preseason, but even last year, I'm just comparing this to last year. During the preseason, the run game, the O-line still did not look good. The first 2 games of the preseason, the O-line, the first and second team O-line has looked magnificent throughout the time that they see the field. Like, for example, I don't think a single first team offensive lineman got a penalty this preseason. And in general, this O-line has not gotten a lot of penalties at all, from the first to the fifth, sixth stringers. No penalties. There was maybe one holding penalty in each of the last 2 games. But then it was the third, fourth, and fifth stringers that did it. It wasn't the first or second stringers. That is really good to see. Another thing I want to point out, remember in the Raiders preseason game, there was a holding penalty that went for Greg Zabel. Not just one time, but twice. A defensive lineman got called for holding an offensive lineman. That normally does not happen. That is very rare. I get it's preseason, but if you're doing that in preseason, if you're drawing holding penalties as an offensive lineman in preseason, man, that makes me kind of excited on what he'll do in the actual season. And keep in mind, like Zabel and the entire first team offense, they're going up against another first team defense. So it's not like Zabel is getting thrown in and facing third, fourth, and fifth stringers. No, Zabel is facing first and second string D linemen. So he's been bullying them. So this is really great to see from this O-line, and I'm hoping we'll continue to see this trend tomorrow against the Packers. But we had 268 total rushing yards against the Chiefs last week. 268 on 48 carries as a team, 5.6. This is by far the largest. The first 2 weeks of the preseason, we have by far had the best running game if you look at the numbers and efficiency compared to any other team. And that is really good to see. George Holani, Jacardia Wright, Damian Martinez, Zach Charbonnet had a crazy drive when he was when he had the opening drive. Amazing. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Versus their rushing, they only had 68 yards the whole game. Wow. I mean, it shows in the score, 33-16. This is the kind of football that I've grown up watching. Pound the rock, play good defense. And to be fair, it really should be 33-10. If it wasn't for a crazy special teams play by Sky Moore, who's now in the Niners, they would have been 33-10. I credit the defense with 10 points allowed because the punt return, that's not defense, that's special teams. So this is really great to see, and this is very encouraging. And I'm really excited to see what will happen next week or tomorrow against the Packers. I don't think any starters are playing, but I'll get into this later. Jalen Milroe is starting. I'll get into that later. And I'm really excited to see what we have going for us. Like, because this team is looking nasty. This team is looking great. I'm gonna make another prediction, my final prediction video, probably sometime next week after this game ends, just to make a final prediction, because I made one earlier and I predicted we'd go 11-7. I'll see what happens. I'll dissect it next week in the video. But going back to this, overall, in both sides, we had 477 yards of total offense against the Chiefs. I get it. The Chiefs it's second and third. It's backups against backups, but our backups completely demolished the Chiefs' backups, and that's something you gotta look at, even if it is preseason, because it is the Chiefs. I know the Chiefs are 0-2. They can go 0-3. It doesn't matter in the preseason because it's preseason, but you can kind of look at each game and dissect parts of the game and see, oh crap, maybe their backups aren't as good as they were last year, or oh crap, this group is better than it was last year. Stuff like that. I love it. I absolutely love it. Drew Lock had a magnificent game. He had a terrific game, in fact. One of the best games I've seen a quarterback play, or not quarterback, I've seen Drew Lock play ever, both regular and preseason. I mean, he was smart with the football. He knew when to use his legs. Didn't turn the ball over. Great. Love it. Darnold, same thing. Obviously, it was for that one drive, but I feel like we only needed to see that one drive. He managed the offense well, and he's showing us as fans, and showing the coaching staff what he's capable of. We don't need him to do what he did in Minnesota last year. We just need him to take the ball, distribute to his playmakers, and let them do their thing, and then hand the ball off. That's exactly what he did, and we scored flawlessly on that first drive with Sam Darnold. If that's how this offense is going to look, along with this defense, holy moly, this team is going to be dangerous. But yeah, I love the performance that we had on again last Friday. Like I have never been this hyped over a preseason game. I really have not. Like even last year, I was pretty stoked at some things, but I was not as hyped as this preseason game because we got so much new talent. We got so many people that we drafted that would be good. Martinez had a good outing, finally. Horlani from last year, who he went undrafted, but he had a great game. He had a terrific game. We got Arroyo, who's shown flashes. Zabel, who I've said has shown flashes. Emin Wari, who's shown flashes. Horton, who showed flashes. I know he's kind of dealing with an ankle injury right now, but I heard it's nothing serious. But we have ballers, and I'm telling you, and a lot of people will tell you this. Some teams are just one good draft away from making a Super Bowl run. I feel like this draft right here could be the draft that we need to push ourselves over the top, to win this division, to make it to the NFC Championship for the first time since 2015. I'm getting the same vibes I got like in the early years of Pete and John installing Legion of Boom and stuff like that. 2012. I feel like this season right here could be our 2012 season. We got a really good draft under a head coach and GM's second year, and Pete and John's case it was 2 years. But like we got a draft. We already have some players in place. We just had to add on to it. I feel like this is the draft that did it. That 2012 draft did that. Added a bunch of key players to a team that already had a bunch of ballers. Because before, like for example, in 2012, before 2012, we already had Richard Sherman. We already had Cam Chancellor. We had Russell Okung. We already had people that were good people that were already on both sides of the ball. Marshawn Lynch, even though we didn't draft him, we traded for him. We already had pieces. We just had to add to it. And that's exactly what I'm getting. That's the feeling that I'm getting from this year so far. We already have a bunch of pieces in place. We got Devin Witherspoon. We got Tariq Woolen, Julian Love. We got Leonard Williams. I'm talking about people that we got when Pete was here. K9, Charbonnet. The list goes on. Cross, Lucas. So many people, so much talent that we've gotten under a different regime, and now that we've got a new regime, we're just adding on top of that. And that is exactly what I feel like is what we're doing in 2010 to 2012 is what we're doing now with this roster. And this is what I'd like to see. And I am seeing the shift in philosophy just throughout these first 2 preseason games. Pound the rock, play good football. This is what made us successful in the early to mid-20 teens, was that exact formula. You notice that the moment we moved off of pounding the rock and playing good defense and started leaning towards more towards Russ and putting the team and putting the future into Russ's hand and the quarterback's hands, you saw what happened. You saw what that did to the team. You saw what it did to the Legion of Boom. And I think that we're reverting to that putting all the chips in one basket, in this case the quarterback. We're going before that now. We're just building a stacked team, and we're getting just getting key pieces all over and let them all ball out. That is what made us successful, and that is exactly what happened with the Eagles last year. Granted, hey, don't get me wrong, Hurts is a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. He's not like Mahomes or Allen or Lamar level, but he's a good quarterback. The thing is they gave him they had a stacked roster on him. And what did they do when they didn't make the playoff or when they didn't win the Super Bowl? In 2020, what was it? In 2020, it was last year. What happens when they faced the Chiefs and they lost? They added more talent, and boom, look at where they are now. Won the Super Bowl. So this is what I like to see, and I know I'm kind of going on a tangent about players that haven't played an official regular season snap, but it's good to see, and it's a great sign. But yeah, this game masterclass in general by everybody. So kudos to that to the game. Shout out to the O-line. Shout out to the running backs. Shout out to the receivers. Shout out to Drew Lock and Sam Darnold. Milroe, who he didn't exactly let us lead a touchdown drive, but he led a scoring drive. He made some great plays. Shout out to everybody. Everyone did their part, which is great. All right, moving on. Yesterday we had the second year of having joint practices. Apparently there was a massive brawl. I'm sure you guys have already seen about this. I'm kind of gonna touch on it a little bit. Packers Seahawks fight. Punches thrown between Zach Tom, their offensive lineman, and Ernest Jones, the fourth, as joint practice erupts in brawl. When the Green Bay Packers and Seattle Seahawks take the field for their final preseason game Saturday, there could be some lingering animosity. So I feel like on both sides are going to go crazy tomorrow because of this. Actually, I have this video by Hawkmania. Excuse me. So yeah, this is the fight that occurred. Apparently, the Seahawks were like going into the We're like going into the Packers huddles, and obviously on either side, of course, you're not gonna like that. And they had a fight over it. You saw Witherspoon right here. He's literally in the thick of it. He is literally in the middle of that. Keep in mind, Witherspoon, he is 5'10", 5'11", like 180 pounds, and this dude is scoring up against 6'5", 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" offensive linemen who weigh north of 300 pounds. This dude is squaring up with them. That is dog mentality right there. Dog mentality straight up. Like, look at that. He's pushing back. He is not. And then you see that's Zach Tom right there, who got absolutely bullied by Ernest Jones. So I'm going to go back to that. So, yeah, Witherspoon, he's right here, and he's not having it. And you see Tom over here pushing Spoon. He did give Spoon a nice hook, but Jones, he was like, nah, that's not flying today. And look what Jones did. Boom, right there, absolutely walloped him. And I think Witherspoon actually might have got a hit on him before Jones got him. Yeah, he did. I think they both exchanged blows. Both Witherspoon and Tom exchanged blows. Yeah, Witherspoon hit him with the left face palm. Or palm hand, I should say. And then Jones hit him with a nasty hook, and that scared him off. I mean, you literally see Zach Tom walk off after that. And then he had to be held back by Tariq Woolen. But yeah, there's Tom. Ernest Jones hits him with the boom right there, and then boom right there, and he's like, yeah. And he tried to get back, and he was like, I'm good. This is great to see. Dogs on the defense. Ernest Jones and Devin Witherspoon are going to be like the enforcers of this defense. Witherspoon already was entering the league. But you add Ernest Jones on top of that, who is the middle linebacker and is going to be calling the defensive plays, per se. That's great to see. And oh my goodness, that just means, oh man, this defense is going to be nuts. I have this defense as the top 10, potentially even top 5 this year. I really do. This defense is going to go crazy. It's all on the offense, like I said. But this defense is going to do its thing for sure. Another thing I want to watch is just a great play by Arroyo. Just more proof that we made a good call in drafting this guy. Turn on the music. Darnold threw a dot. Zipped that. Kept it high. Dot. And look at the protection he has. Boom. Look at that. That's a one-handed grab right there. And keep in mind, he's already made a few of those this offseason. So, holy moly. Woo! That was crazy. So, this is what I love to see. And, oh my goodness. This team, we got a lot of pieces. We got a brand new OC who I think is going to be much better than Grubb. This team is going to be leaps and bounds better than it was last year, I feel like. And like I said, I'll make a prediction next week. But this team is going to be really good, I feel like. Just seeing these guys make plays over and over and over again. I understand it's training camp and it's preseason, but they're consistently making plays. And I feel like that at some point it's going to translate in the regular season. So yeah, moving on to this, I do want to talk about this for a bit before I end the video. Jalen Milroe, he's going to be starting and finishing the entire preseason game tomorrow, and this is massive and honestly, I was gonna really talk about this myself, but then I saw saw this article by Field Goals, and it kind of goes over what I was going to talk about if I didn't encounter this article. So let's go over it. This offseason could not have gotten better for the Seahawks dynamic rookie passer. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, as covered on Thursday, Mike McDonald announced that Milroe will play the entire game against the Packers on Saturday, as the starters will not see action on Saturday in Lambeau. So just for clarity, this means that the team's intention is for Drew Lock to not see the field Saturday. Which, in a sense, that kind of means that kind of tells us that it's all set in stone. QB1 is Darnold, QB2 is Drew Lock, and QB3 is Milroe. Which, okay, that's fine, because Drew Lock has had an amazing camp. As he says here, Drew Lock has had a terrific camp, which he has. And I feel like, honestly, as much as I love Milroe and think that he has upside, if Darnold were to go down in the regular season, I would rather have Lock in than Milroe, just because of the fact that he is he has experience, and I would trust the ball more in a veteran's hands than in a rookie's hands. Milroe is going to be great, don't get me wrong, but Milroe ain't like Russ. He ain't coming out here taking people's starting jobs in his rookie season, clearly. So if Sam Darnold were to go down, I'd feel comfortable with Drew Lock being the backup. And we've seen Lock win us games as a game as the backup against the freaking Eagles. I will not forget that game. He led a game-winning drive against the Eagles. He had a down year that year, but they were still a playoff team that year. Led a game-winning drive. I feel good. I feel comfortable with Locke being the backup in the event that Darnold goes down. He knows the system. He knows he knows JSN. He knows the system. So I think he'd be good. So Milroe. Clint Kubiak calling the offensive plays. This is going to be very interesting to see for Saturday or tomorrow, because I do think, and this is not I do think, this is what happens every year in the preseason. Both the OC and the DC, they're gonna call basic plays because they don't want to. Obviously it's the preseason. You don't want to go into your bag in the preseason. They're gonna call basic pass plays, basic defense, basic 3-4, basic 4-3, whatever. But what I've noticed is that we've ran a lot of 21 personnel with the fullback, 21, sometimes 22 personnel. Great to see. So in this scenario, so the ideal franchise. Like I was saying, him starting the entire game tomorrow shows that we are investing in Milroe and that Milroe is our ultimate end goal for starting quarterback down the line after Darnold. And this is what I like to see. Milroe could have not landed in a much better position than the Seahawks, other than maybe the Chiefs and obviously like great teams like the Chiefs, the Eagles, those teams, of course. But in terms of a franchise putting, giving its players all the resources and the chances to better themselves and make the roster and show who they are, Seattle could have not been a better place for Milroe to do just that. And this is great to see. Milroe, he may commit a mistake tomorrow. Quarterbacks do that. He hasn't committed a single mistake at all so far in the time that he's played this preseason. Granted, he's been very laid back and conservative with his passing, and that might not just be him. That could also be Clint Kubiak and the coaching staff telling him, "Hey, we're gonna ease you into this. You're gonna do some simple 5-10 yard pass. We're gonna call some simple plays where you'll have a guy open 5-10 yards to open down the field. Let's see how you do with those. Then we'll progress to intermediate, then the deep bomb." I think that's what they're doing, which is great. You don't want to throw Milroe right into the offense because he's still learning it. So this is what I like to see, and I think Milroe will do great tomorrow. Like I said, he may make a mistake, but I think we've seen so far he can be good. So I'm gonna read what they say here about the ideal franchise. It's hard to envision many better spots for the explosive yet development quarterback to have landed, and this really hasn't been talked about that much. Milroe got dropped straight into an elite coaching system, coupled with an immediate removal of expectations on his performance. This is the issue that some franchises like the Browns, the Colts, and the Panthers have. You're throwing a guy straight into the fire, straight to the wolves, expecting him to take you to be that guy. I understand that the Panthers spent a first overall pick on Bryce Young. I understand the same thing about Anthony Richardson, the 5th overall pick. But you see what happens. The Colts. We saw that with Deshaun Kaiser, although he wasn't a first-round pick. But you see what happens when you draft a quarterback and throw them straight to the wolves. I guarantee you, if Jalen Hurts was thrown straight to the wolves in his rookie season, we would not be talking about him at all today. Because he would have sucked, and they would have been like, "Oh, this guy isn't really that good," and they would have moved off, and we wouldn't be hearing about them. The Eagles did it right. They sat him for a year, and then they started him in this next year. And look how he did. He did well. He did great. Led him to a Super Bowl. So this is exactly what we're doing right here with Milroe, that the Eagles did with Jalen. Get a guy, bring him in, a veteran guy, bring him in to start for a season or two, let him sit and learn the reins, and then you expect him to perform. That's what's made us a good franchise the past 15 years. Honestly, since the turn of the century, because we just don't go and throw people into the fire. So continuing, not only does the team have a proven question mark starter in Sam Darnold, but one of the better backups in the league. Furthermore, there's been such a bevy of quarterbacks drafted this and last year that he's been often forgotten. This is great. Milroe gets the entire year to quietly learn under some capable mentors in a Kubiak system that finally makes the life of a quarterback easier, not harder, away from the spotlight, surrounded by up-and-coming talent. Boom. This field goals has literally nailed it. You could not have not said this more perfect than what field goals just said right here. Now he's getting an entire game at NFL speed with no pressure whatsoever as to how his performance may impact the team's regular season prospects the following week. All signs point to the type of quiet, consistent, thorough development that has too often fallen by the wayside from greedy NFL franchises. Like I've said, the Browns, the Colts, the Panthers. What I love to see. Let's see. Yeah, all signs point to the type of quiet, consistent, thorough development that has too often fallen by the wayside of greedy NFL franchises, over eager to throw the rookies to the wolves, like I've said, in sink or swim scenarios. We're not necessarily in a sink or swim scenario, but like, still, you don't like. I do believe that if you were to start Milroe, he won't have a terrible year considering that we have so much talent, but he won't have a great year either. So that's great to see. Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Jordan Love, all recent examples. Aaron Rodgers, he sat behind Brett Favre. Brett Favre? No, not Brett Favre. Oh, yeah. No. Hold up. I gotta fact check myself on this because I don't want to give out false information. Yes, 2007. So he sat underneath Brett Favre. Patrick Mahomes, he sat behind Alex Smith. Sorry, I don't know why I was forgetting his name. Jordan Love sat behind Aaron Rodgers. Jordan Love isn't exactly Aaron Rodgers-esque, but he's proven to be, a good quarterback and leads teams to the playoffs and win a playoff game. But even Jared Goff and Lamar Jackson only started 7 games their respective rookie years. The developmental stage is just simply so important for some of these guys, perhaps even most, and it's not being given anymore. So Milroe will take center stage this weekend, immediately fade back into the background a bit, and it couldn't be better for the future of the Seahawks. This is what we want to see. You want to show everyone that, hey, we got a guy that could potentially be up and coming. Shows his stuff in the preseason, then the regular season happens, and then you don't talk about him. That's good for all parties involved. It's good for the Seahawks and it's good for the Milroe because Milroe ain't got to worry about people chattering, ain't got to worry about that chatter that's going on. And the Seahawks ain't got to worry about, they drafted a bust in Jalen Milroe. Oh, man, that guy's not going to be like Russell Wilson. That's good. That's what I love to see. And that is great. This is like I was saying, this is the reason why John Schneider got extended because of stuff like this. You're building an NFL team the right way, and that is exactly what we were doing. So, yeah, him starting and finishing this entire game is a testament of this franchise, putting its faith into Milroe in the future, potentially putting its faith in Milroe in the future, and I love that, absolutely love that. So, I cannot wait to see what happens tomorrow, and like I said, I'll be making a video, making another my final record prediction next week, and then eventually when the 53-man roster comes out, I'll also make a video on that. But yeah, I could have not been any happier with the way this offseason has gone. At first, I thought the offseason we were going to be going through a tough time because we traded away DK Metcalf. We traded away Geno Smith. I was thinking, oh man, yeah, it might be time to enter the basement for a bit. Nope. We did probably the correct only right moves we could have made. We did it, and couldn't be any happier. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm hoping for a good game. Obviously, it's a preseason game, but I'm hoping Milroe does his thing and balls out, shows that this guy could be up next. So we'll see what happens. That's all I have for this video. I'll probably make a video following up on that. I don't know, sometime next week. I'll probably just make a follow-up video, like a game review video / prediction video next week. So, actually, honestly, I think the final rosters are due by Tuesday of next week. So, honestly, I'm just going to make a video all at once. 53-man, record prediction, and then, talking about the game that's going on tomorrow. So yeah, stay tuned to that. And if you like the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share for more Seahawks and Seattle sports content. Thank you for stopping by. Have a good night, and go Hawks, go Mariners, and go Kraken.